Tommy Waddle's with us here on the Kaplan J Hood Morning Show. Good morning, Tommy. How are you?
I'm good, but I live in Long Grove now. I don't live in Lake Forest. I moved out of Lake Forest about 8-9 months ago.
Long Grove isn't that far.
Well, it's not. It's not right in the same
two biggest
community.
estates are you and Eddie Olczyk.
That I'm not sure of, but I don't live in Lake Forest anymore. And by the way, is Shay still hating on Pete Carroll?
Yeah,
Really?
he's just so ridiculous.
Okay, you may be able to put up a case for him not to be a Hall of Famer, but to hate on Pete as a good coach, Pete has been an excellent coach. Come on, Shay.
He's fine. I think he's more of a cheerleader than anything else.
Oh, stop it. You don't stay in the league.
The guy was bad at the Jets, goes to the Patriots, ends badly, goes to USC, cheats his ass off, has to escape USC because of the heat. Goes to Seattle. First few years are terrible, but the GM lands you historic secondary. You run nothing but cover three, but you've got Richard Sherman and all these guys out there hitting people.
Yeah.
Win one Super Bowl, have the worst play call in the history of the Super Bowl, and then win nothing else.
You know who else used to struggle with ill-timed timeouts and silly decisions was Andy. Andy Reid did. And then he kind of got past it, and they ended up winning. So,
well, and you got Patrick Mahomes.
Well, that's true.
Oh, he gets no credit for developing
No, I'm not saying that. Andy Reid's an all-time great.
Tommy, this whole conversation is the equivalent of a child pulling down his pants at the department store and say, "Hey, mommy, look at me." That's what this is. So it's just so ridiculous. I'm so unbothered by this nonsense. Like, the guy's got, the resume is what it is. Whether he's underrated or overrated, the resume is what it is. He was on the sidelines for those victories. Yep. He deserves the credit, just like the trainer, just like the broadcasters, any of the players. It's so ridiculous.
Amen.
Nonetheless, let's talk about the Chicago Bears since we're here. Let's talk about the Bears and training camp. What stood out most about what you saw on the sidelines for you?
Honestly, Jonathan, it was that they didn't really do anything. And, again, I cringe at listening to myself because the last thing I want to be is the old guy in the room screaming. But and I preface this by saying we did it the wrong way. Everything evolves over the course of time. To be out there killing each other for 5 hours a day in double sessions and then doing it again the following day and then the next day and then the next day. We didn't do it the right way, but I don't think it's just unique to the Bears. I just don't know that this is the best way to get ready for an NFL season. I know it's been collectively bargained and all, but they were coming off an off day and then they go out in shells. And honestly, the only thing that really stood out to me, guys, was the punter. He was kicking the crap out of it, which is what you expect using a 4th-round pick on him. But everything else was kind of like slow motion. I just don't know, Jonathan, how they get a whole lot done. My hope would be today you're going to get a full padded practice. Like, we were there a week ago Tuesday, and I thought they got a lot done. I thought the tempo was good. I thought that they were on the field for a couple of hours. There was hitting. I thought that was a really, a practice where they got a lot out of it. Yesterday was kind of a glorified walkthrough in my old man opinion. But I think today, hopefully you'll get something that is, pretty much similar to what I saw last Tuesday.
Tommy, it was cool, though. I was watching where they were going in 11-on-11, and Caleb dropped back. He looked left. He looked right. He looked middle. He looks back right, and then bam, to the left side. He drills one into DJ Moore. Mitch couldn't do that. Justin didn't do that. I was like, wow, somebody went through their progressions in a Bear uniform.
Yeah,
that was pretty cool.
You can notice those things, Cap. Like, those are the things you do notice. Now, again, on that play, he may have been sacked as well because they're in shells and there's no contact.
True.
But to watch him kind of go from A to B to C and then kind of reset himself, and then he does some things that are, he has elite traits. There's no question. Arm angle throws. He can do some stuff that, and again, please don't, I know that there will be some fools out there that take this the wrong way, but he can do some of the arm angle throws that Mahomes can do and some of that stuff. I'm not comparing him because we haven't even seen him take a snap in the NFL, but all I'm saying is there are some elite traits. Where that will take him, I don't know yet. I'm very confident and very optimistic, but there are some things that he can do. And I think, guys, he just plays the position with more. It just looks more natural. There's more efficiency. There's more, hey, he's looked like he's been a quarterback his entire life. And And I think that the one thing, though, I think we talked about this last night in the Hard Knocks post-game show is that there are still things, guys, that the basics that they're struggling with a little bit. And that's cadence, that's play calling, that's getting in and out of the huddle, because those are all things, Jonathan, you watch more college football, you and Shay, than I do. Those are things he wasn't asked to do. You basically look to the sideline, you see a picture of Tom and Jerry, and then you clap your hands a couple times, and then you're reading. That doesn't work in the NFL. No. So those things have to be worked out.
However, that would be a great innovation for the NFL. That just adds more to the, to the package to be able to have a picture of Tom and Jerry and Sylvie.
But seriously, Jonathan, you know what the better thing would be? And I think you would know this again better than I. The better thing would be to actually install a mechanism inside the helmet where the coordinator in college can talk to the quarterback in the huddle instead of having to put those pictures up.
Yeah, absolutely. Because it seems so old school. You're right. So hearing from Ryan Poles yesterday on our show, he was pretty committal saying, hey, we're going to have a good enough offensive line or strong enough offensive line for Caleb to work with on Saturday. Interestingly enough, Matt Eberflus was a little bit more non-committal with that. But I would agree, Tommy, that this is the right thing to do, because when you go through the NFL, it's never going to be perfect. It's never going to be a perfect pitch for 18 weeks. An offensive lineman will be out. A wide receiver could be out. So however long Caleb's out there, I think it's great that he'll have an opportunity to play some coming up on Saturday.
I agree with you 100%, Jonathan. And we all respectfully disagreed last week. There are some disagreements on the station I don't think are so respectful, me included. But I did respectfully disagree. I thought that procedurally he could have used some work last week. This week for sure. And to your point, Jonathan, look, there's a good chance based on track record the last 12 months that he could be standing behind an offensive line that doesn't have the 5 guys that you had penciled in on the depth chart. So you better learn how to play with guys who are quote-unquote backups. So whether or not Tevin Jenkins is available, whether or not Nate Davis is available or not, there are still things that he has to see and learn, and the only way you do that is by playing. And first of all, Cap and I have talked to Olin about this. And Olin will tell you, right, Cap, that the job one for the quarterback is to protect himself with setting protections and seeing what he sees and everything else. Like, you can't be reckless going to the line of scrimmage. You've got to be able to protect yourself, and I think Caleb can do some of that stuff. I think Shane Waldron can protect him a little bit, and then you just don't leave him out there for 3 quarters. But he's got to play. To the point of the offensive line, the one thing that I think, not from Hard Knocks, but from, listening to Coach Eberflus yesterday when he met the media, he basically said, and referring to Nate Davis either directly or indirectly, is, look, I don't believe in the concept of not losing your job. You don't lose your job because of injury. And I think he was talking about Nate, and his point was, look, if we've got other people that are competing and doing a nice job and are reliable, we're going to play them. Now, the exception is like, look, if Jerry Rice pulls his hamstring, when Jerry comes back, he's going to play. But Nate Davis ain't Jerry Rice. So, but that was interesting coming from the head coach.
Right. So, Tom, right. So, Tommy, let me ask you a question. They get a deal done with DJ Moore. Super cool and Hard Knocks, where Paul says, go ask Coach Eberflus if he's all right if we bring DJ up here to talk to his agents for a few minutes during special teams. And you see all this, and then it comes out yesterday, the details of the contract.
Yeah.
He's only got a $7-some million cap hit this year. So they now have $21 million in cap space. That's got to be by design to make a move or two.
No question. I have several thoughts there. First of all, I was shocked that Kevin Warren didn't get out of his chair, and instead of calling DJ to come up, run the pen and paper down to him, because you could tell that Kevin thought it was a really good deal. And I think it's a great deal. I think it's good for DJ. He gets the security that he talked about wanting with $83 million guaranteed. Guys, you realize that contract is now 6 years and like 140 some, whatever it is, it's $24 million a year for the next 6 years, but he gets paid 16 and 16 over the next 2 years. He's underpaid today with the $24 million a year APR, because he's better than guys that are getting paid that. So, look, I mean, DJ had to do what was perfect for DJ and his family, and I applaud that. The Bears got a great deal, because this guy is worth more than what they're actually paying him. And then to find out, to your point, Cap, because my reluctance to want to give DJ the extension in this camp was not because I didn't want him to be part of the future, because I never want him to play in another team's uniform. It's because I know that they have needs, and I wanted them to keep some powder dry. To learn that you signed DJ to a very quote-unquote equitable deal for both and increase your cap space by like $9 million. Like I've been very complimentary of what Ryan has done all along. That move right there, and it has to be because DJ's on board with it, is spectacular because it gives Ryan a ton of flexibility to add a piece on either side of the line.
Well, it also shows the brothers, Rosenhaus.
Yes.
That they are on board with the
DJ's
Bears
the boss.
trying to put a team together. He said, we'll work with you.
Yeah.
You be fair here. We'll work with you. And DJ, consummate team guy, in.
I called it the Brady deal, Jonathan. I said, like, he signed a Tom Brady type of deal. You know, like Tom Brady never took, you know, like what he was worth. He took something that was very, very good, but it was also allowed the team he was playing for to spend otherwise.
All right, more with Tommy on a Waddle Wednesday on the Cap and J Hood Morning Show. We're streaming on the ESPN Chicago app. It's a Waddle Wednesday as we talk to Tommy right here on Cap and J Hood. We're here at Lake Forest. You can hear the DJ. He's already started, Cap.
Yep, every year he cranks up the tunes. And, hey, man, we're doing a radio show over here. We got the great Tom Waddle, and he does not suffer people that impede on his time.
No, that's not true. The guy there spinning the whatever you call him is
music.
The music, yeah.
Yes.
He's more important than I am. Listen, the people need to be entertained out there.
You know who's entertaining him right here by our booth? He's signing autographs. Big Cat Williams, the original Big Cat.
Awesome.
He's
awesome.
the best.
That's right.
He just came over. He'll fist bump me, Hoodie, and Shay. Dude, he's the best.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was a great player.
Good to see him here.
Came in as a defensive lineman,
I
Jonathan.
was just telling that to Shay.
Yeah.
Drafted like 7th round out of Cheney State.
Mm-hmm.
He was a D tackle. They went, you're not going to make the team, kid, unless you go to O-lineman. He became a Pro Bowler.
Yeah. Fantastic player.
Oh.
Hey, Tommy, we just saw this from Brooke Pryor, who covers the Steelers for ESPN.com. Russell Wilson will not play against the Texans, and it is going to be Justin Fields. The depth chart came out. Fields is QB1 on the Steelers depth chart. So, you know, as I thought, you know, Justin Fields has an opportunity here with a fresh start to be able to do something. And of course, if it's going our way, this will only help the Bears with the draft pick.
Right. That's where listen, I wish Justin the best. I don't, you know, if he goes and plays exceptionally well, I'm not going to regret the decision they made. They made the right decision, in my humble opinion. And you're right, Jonathan. The more he plays, the percentage of snaps, the higher the draft pick the Bears get in return. So, look, I thought all along, and I think that they would tell you that the plan was for Russell Wilson to be the starter, and I would still be a bit surprised unless his calf is just a mess if he wasn't the starter to open the season. But Justin's going to have an opportunity to, you know, kind of, you know, redefine his career in Pittsburgh.
So let me ask you a question about the receiver position, because in Hard Knocks yesterday, you saw Colin Johnson make these really good plays, made a good tackle on special teams, caught 2 touchdowns, and Caleb Williams turns to DJ Moore and he goes, he's going to be here a while. And DJ Moore goes, how many receivers do you think they're keeping? How many do you think they're keeping?
Well, usually you're going to keep at least 6 these days, and one guy's going to have to play special teams. I don't know what – look, I mean, you've got your top 3. I think Tyler Scott obviously is a lock because he was a 4th-round pick last year.
And he's had a good camp.
He has. You're right, Cap, and I think that, you know, you got to give him time to kind of prove that he is going to be a guy that's going to contribute, or a guy that ultimately – is replaceable. I think Colin Johnson's a better overall receiver. He obviously is a different type of receiver, but his size and his ability to go up and get the ball, he tracks the ball well. He goes up and gets the ball. I would think Colin Johnson is on the roster. He's shown you that he can play special teams, so there's 5 there. I heard you guys talking about Velus Jones. I'm with Hoodie. I just don't know. I mean, I know that he was one of Ryan's picks, but you can accomplish with Khalil Herbert what you're trying to get out of Velus. Why are you putting Velus Jones in the backfield? Khalil Herbert averages 5 yards per carry. Khalil Herbert can be your return man, because basically, if you talk to anybody, including the officials that
That's what
came
Hoodie
in
said.
it's basically
It's a running game.
It's a glorified running play. So who would you guys rather have with the ball in their hands if this is a glorified running play? Khalil Herbert or Velus Jones?
It's a scarlet letter on the play because you see him out there.
Yeah.
He's either going to get the play or it's just a mirage. More times than not, if he's in that position in the backfield, he's going to get the ball.
Yeah.
The defense is going to read that like it's yesterday's news.
But we're talking about on the kick. Again, I get your Hoodie's point that you'd rather have Khalil Herbert back there, unless you're telling me that Khalil is going to bring me back draft capital that I'd like to have, and the fall off on the kick won't be as big with Velus.
Yeah.
Now I got to factor that in.
Look, it's not like, hey, DJ Moore. This is a valuable position, but it's not nearly as valuable as your first or second receiver. So whatever they choose, I don't think it's going to have an enormous impact one way or the other. But I think the running back position is one where there is a bit of a competition. And Khalil Herbert, I think, could enhance his chances of making this roster if they would give him the opportunity to return some kicks, which we are finding out are more like, glorified running plays, as opposed to trying to find a spot just to justify keeping Velus Jones. Do you know what I'm saying? So,
yeah.
Which player, in your guys' opinion, has contributed more to the organization over the last
Herbert
2 years?
Yeah, not Dante Pettis and not Velus Jones. Not for me.
Right.
So it's just what it is. I just and talking about the defense just for a second, Tommy. Talking about the defensive line. Sometimes we confuse football with baseball. In that with baseball, it's like we got to plug this hole. Got to make and you sometimes forget about young players. Listen. If the Bears went with this defensive line moving forward, if they broke camp and said Sweat, Billings, Dexter, Walker is across the line, okay, I thought that the defense got better with a pass rush last year. Sure, you like to have upgrades, but it doesn't have to be today, Tommy. If it's before the trade deadline, I'm totally fine with it. But at some point, you got to develop young players. You drafted them for a reason. Yeah. There hasn't been enough talk about Zach Pickens or some of the others that's on this roster. At some point, development has to matter.
Yeah, and I think that's the what they're looking to do with Gervon Dexter, and to see whether or not he adapts to that position as a 3 technique. He's a really interesting character to play that role because he's 6'6" and long, and that frightens the hell out of guards. Like the short-armed guards that they reach out and Dexter can put their hand on their helmet and they run in circles. You know what I mean? So
right.
I don't know if Dexter ultimately, will excel at the position, but it's very intriguing because I think he'll make some guards around the league panic a little bit. I'm with you, Jonathan. I'm fine with them trying to develop guys, but you also have to understand as an organization that there's patience, and then there's stubbornness, because Ryan has done, again, a brilliant job of having all of his draft currency, and he's got cash to spend. While Montez Sweat came in last year and really improved things, they were 31st in sack percentage. And the final 3 games of the season, Montez did not have a sack. And it's not because he didn't play well. It's because all an offensive line has to do, if they're not threatened by anybody but one guy on that defensive line, is just slide the line to him. You don't have to double and triple him. You just slide the line to him, and then the guy on the other side has to make a difference. And if he doesn't make a difference, it's all clear sailing for the offense. So Booker's either got to be that guy, or Walker's got to be that guy that when an offense prepares for Montez Sweat and slides that line to him, that guy on the other side has to prove that he can make the offense pay. And if that isn't happening early in the season, then I think that they will be proactive because they've shown that tendency, and they will find somebody.
Tommy, we got to roll. Have a great day, man.
Enjoy the day, fellas. Hopefully you'll get one of these full padded practices where they accomplish a lot. You don't leave there going, what the F was that?
All right, Jay Moore, we will have discussion about Hard Knocks when we come back